Hi, Maria, back with another video. It's 6:45, 46 to be precise, and it's July 4th, the 4th of July, which I have to keep reminding myself of that, mainly because, obviously I'm gang stalked and I'm kind of isolated from the rest of the world. Hate to bring up gang stalking, but it is what it is. So I'm sitting here, and I was, messing around with some stuff in my house, and it's hard for me to get focused and have any drive, only because in the back of my mind I'm always got this fearful, this sense of fear that nags at me because, like I had mentioned before in my previous videos, that I have been dealing with terrorism for the last God knows how long, and so it has affected me. I'm trying to get myself together and pick myself back up because I want to get on with my life. I do. As I mentioned, this is a very debilitating thing, I'm trying to get on with my life, and so it's hard for me to kind of gather up all my stuff. I'm looking over my resumes and my cover letters and trying to figure out how I'm going to introduce myself to employers and everything, because I'm not comfortable with looking at the ads anymore. I'm just not, because of the gang stalking, of course, right? So I've been laying down in the afternoons, taking little naps here and there, which was really helping me a lot. Because, there's times where I stay up late at night, kind of like the night before or so, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, this gloom is hanging over my head, and then I kind of pair up later on in the day. So it's kind of important for me to get rest, so the nights that I don't sleep, very well, is very hard because it kind of affects my mood and so on and so forth. But little naps here and there kind of revive me, and so I'm proud when I can do something. I'm starting things and I'm working on things a little at a time, whereas before I would just get right through it. This of course relates to what I do at home. Now, if I do work, okay, but I work part-time, but when I'm giving a task, that's different. There's a motivating factor there. But when I'm in the comfort of my home, I tend to lag and just not really feel any sort of drive, which is sad because, I'm somebody who's just filled with life, and, I always like to be energetic, it's just me. I've always been the kind of person who likes to get up in the morning, many years ago, before my gang stalking, of course. But, and of course I like to hit those thrift stores and some of the yard sales, a long time ago. People used to get up early in the morning and start putting their stuff up at 6. I was already driving those neighborhoods, scouting that shit. What are they gonna sell? I want it, and I just don't, I'm not like that anymore. And it's not because I don't want to be, and I certainly still have the energy level. If I was to perk up, if things got better, I would feel much more better about my situation. And I want to get out of my situation, but it's not as easy for me because, I don't want to deal with any more of my previous perps bullshit, which is traumatizing, in and of itself. I did think a little bit about this issue, trying to put pieces together. And it's like, Maria, I always say to myself, Maria, it really shouldn't matter too much at this point. You understand the bulk of it, but it's just the, I guess the rage, that was displayed towards me. It makes me wonder, what the fuck were people saying and doing? What was this bullshit? And, I feel as though, I'm not sure if who started this, for example, how long Stephen Lyles was manipulating my employment. Does it go back to when I was working at the news station? Or did it start where I was working at Karen's place? Or at least these things, these thoughts keep going through my mind. And I keep thinking, okay, it doesn't matter now. You know, I keep trying to tell myself it doesn't matter now, and I need to calm down. What I'm saying is, it's just been going on for such a long time. This trauma, this, you know, psychological terrorism, and I want it done, stop. Because it's not so much that I care what people think of me, because I don't really care. I mean, people have the right to live their life however they want, and I feel like I live a pretty good life, okay? But when you stand in the middle of me obtaining something that I need to survive, okay, and give me things that I didn't ask for, and then insist that I should be grateful, and you're doing all this stuff for me when I didn't ask you for shit, right? So it kind of, okay, I got a text message, okay, yeah, but it kind of, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like you feel these monsters around you, or you feel it, you know, and I don't want it anymore, which I've said before, you know, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. And I keep thinking, okay, I want to set goals for myself, because I don't want to continue living like this. I don't. You know, it's not a good way for me to live. It's actually quite uncomfortable, because I'm the kind of person that wants to go out and do a bunch of stuff. You know, I like working. And I like coming home at a certain time, and I like a particular schedule in my life, you know. And so I was also thinking today, you know, I was looking up, no, it wasn't, I didn't do it deliberately, but something caught my eye about ghost towns. Now, I have only been to 2 ghost towns in my entire life, but I have been to, like, you know, towns that were kind of deserted. Well, not deserted, but, you know, it's not very many people. The population is kind of small. And it intrigues me, you know, because it's like, you know, some things don't really progress in certain areas, and these kind of places like fascinate me. And as far as ghost towns are concerned, you know, it's just, I have this thing about the past, you know what I mean? I've always had this connection of anything that was, you know, around before me that is still standing, you know, and it's fascinating. And I was thinking, you know, it'd be so cool to go out and explore that stuff. I used to also like going out and exploring abandoned buildings, you know, especially abandoned homes when I was younger. I loved that kind of stuff. And I now think, my gosh, you know, I was kind of, I don't know, I was naive in a lot of ways, because sometimes I'd go off in real far away places, you know, where if I was to encounter somebody, you know, living in one of those houses, like a homeless person or something that was very territorial, who's to say, you know, they could have hacked me up in little pieces. Like, nobody would ever know that I was gone or anything, you know, I just think I took a lot of, like, crazy chances, you know, back then. But you know, if I had, like, a friend where I could, like, get up and say, hey, you know what, I want to, like, go and look at these abandoned houses out in the middle of wherever, and somebody was just as gung-ho about that as I was, which is, it is a rare fascination, or rare hobby, or rare interest. I do see people posting videos on YouTube, which makes me happy, because I know that I'm not the only one. But if only I knew these people, you know, because it would be cool to just explore stuff, not with a bunch of people, because, you know, you get too many people, they start talking and squawking, and the whole thing about going to abandoned places is to kind of feel what's going on around you, you know, and it's kind of it's a mysterious feeling, you know. And so when you get a lot of banter, a lot of talking, laughing, you know, giggling and stuff, it kind of is sort of a distraction. But, you know, I want to do things, I do, but there's a lot that goes through my mind. Really, you know, a lot of targets, they have some people, because of the inability to do anything, because you're so demoralized. Everything is just like so pointless to you, because you're separated from everything that you care about, beyond your control, right? And then they also, you add on the loss of different jobs, and the fact that you're, you know, doing something that you're not really wanting to do. It causes a lot of psychological effects in some people, and some people literally go over the edge and do all kinds of stuff. And some people become not schizophrenic, but it can cause schizotype disorders for some people. Now, I don't have that, but it can, you know, it can affect people mentally to where they cannot function anymore. I am a functioning person, but yet I don't have the motivation. And although I know that I need to do something, it's beyond my control. You know, some people would say, well, go see a therapist or something. I don't really have a lot of faith in therapists. I'm hoping that I will write it out, because I feel like this is not, you know, when you dealt with something where you've tried making, you know, I've mentioned before in 2015 or 2000, somewhere around 2015 and 16, I mean, I was sending out resumes. I had to take them to the shredders when I started realizing I was getting nowhere. Okay, I had to literally take folders, files, and all these papers, right, to the shredder, because it was just too much to throw in the trash, right? And so it really puts you in this think, well, what? I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to be, you know, dealing with this bullshit. I don't want to deal with it. And so once you get back to it, which, you know, before I was like, you know, I set aside time during the day. I would wake up, you know, I was at my mom's house. I would wake up like 6 in the morning, get on the computer, start working on resumes, looking for work, blah, 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 blah. And then when I realized that, you know, I was just basically screwed, you know. So now it's not as easy for me because I had to deal with so much trauma, you know. And oh, hang on a second, got another text here coming in. Let's see who that is. So anyway, yeah, you know, it's not easy for me, you know. And so, you know, I want to do more with my life. This is not what I want in my life at all, you know. Some people would think that this is ideal. You know, I would say lazy. This would be the lazy person's, you know, dream. Like, lazy people would love to switch places with me. They would be like, you got it, made in the shade, you know. But I'm not like that. You know, I enjoy applying myself to something. And it's unfortunate that I had to go through all of this because, you know, I would have been a better employee for Karen Johnson had this not happened. You know, there was too much going on with these perps in the workplace, and all of this, you know, was going on. I didn't realize it was outside sources. I thought it was mostly just her accounts receivable clerk, but now I see now that it's been, which I've realized for quite a while, like, you know, but I realized that there was outside intrusion, influence in that environment. And you know, I think after going through all these things, you know, that affects your mind a little bit. It does. You know, it makes you like, I don't want to waste I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know what to do. It becomes an overwhelming, you know, task, because I don't want to sit here and, you know, send out resumes or contact people who've been told don't fucking deal with her, you know. And the more I think about why I was blacklisted, or at least I would say my rights were trampled on, for the reasons of what I understand, you know, number one, I keep forgetting all about, you know, the lie that I told my husband, because it's always like, because now that, well, all these new developments keep coming in, I'm throwing in the Lyles family, I'm throwing in, you know, the shit that happened in the last few jobs. I forget all about that. So I know that that was something that they were holding against me, which really is not a legitimate reason. And then the fact that, you know, I wear wigs, that is a discrimination issue, which, you know, it's so funny. Saw an article today about, God, I'm getting on the subject. I'll come back to that later. Okay, but then that was another issue. And the fact that, you know, I eat, you know, decent food when I go to work and on my lunch break and so on and so forth. And so those are not legal reasons. Those are that's like face in discrimination in your face. And I was thinking, you know, it's a terrible thing in this world where we have to be persecuted for being normal. You know, now some people think I'm different in a lot of other ways. Yes, I am. But I would say that that's normal. I see a lot of women who pack apples. Like, I think the lady who took over my job at the manufacturer's place, she had yogurt in her snack pack, right? Nobody was sitting here, like, attacking her. So a lot of things that women do, I'm the only one who gets the finger pointed at, because I've got perps, right? But still, those are not legal reasons to do that. There's not legal reasons to do that at all. So, all of these things that are based on discrimination, and you deal with it in like this, large numbers, it's you don't know what to do, and so I'm giving myself timelines because it's like I don't want to be here another year making videos bitching about my perps and stuff, and we limited my abilities to do things, whereas while I was in the Antelope Valley looking for work in Los Angeles, it would have been ideal for me. Now they've limited my things where I can't really target. I mean, I would be happy working anywhere really, except for certain industries. But if you have a choice, if you had this ideal choice in the back of your mind, if you could choose, these are certain places that I'd rather do. But the kind of places I could do, I have these ideas in my mind. But there's certain companies, certain industries, that appeal to you more than others. I mean, but there are some I refuse. I don't even consider. But whatever the case is, it's like, when people do this sort of stuff, and then knowing that your family, they involve your family, and then they instruct your family not to tell you, or your family is a part of this anyway, but still, they keep these things from you, something that important, okay? You can't help but feel betrayed. I mean, obviously, it's deeper. My resentment towards my family is deeper than that, okay? Because everything that led up to it, and starting to remember what caused this evil to creep into their heart in the first place, and understanding this shit, it's deeper than that. But still, you become absolutely disgusted with everybody that you used to know, so that's devastating. I'm over that devastation, but still, it's like you realize I'm all by myself in this world, okay? I have no one. Okay, I have no one. Yes, I have my son, okay? But I'll be damned if my son's going to sit here and hold his life back for me. I don't want that shit, okay? And no, I'm not going to consider getting married and have somebody else have control over my life, okay? So they can fucking abuse me. I'm not going to do that, okay? So it's logical. It's logical, okay? Now, other people don't understand that because they are steeped in certain traditions or whatever, and it's not that I don't respect traditions, because I do, okay? But everybody's got certain issues, okay? In my situation, I have an abusive family. I've left what I consider to be somewhat abusive, because obviously I left him before, and then also he was carrying on with his mom or all that crazy shit. So, and then also he was involved with my employment and said nothing about it, knowing that the stress that I was going through, knowing the fear, the anxiety, and he's going to sit there and not tell me anything. Fuck this motherfucker. I don't ever want to see him again, right? So I am not going to be putting myself in a situation like that ever again. I have to take care of me. And a lot of people don't understand that because they're used to women my age being married with kids, stuff like that. And I understand that. But everybody has certain issues, okay? And it would be really stupid for me to allow myself to get in a situation where somebody's financially supporting me. That would be abusive, okay? And there's people like myself who are prone to being in situations like that just because of my prior history of being associated with narcissistic people, So I need my security, okay? And that is a motivating factor, but still, what keeps this mental block issue is I don't want to be fucked with anymore, okay? Illegally fucked and over and terrorized anymore. I don't want it, you know what I mean? And I didn't deserve it, like I said, all this shit, they just came in and descended upon me without me knowing. And then these people knew better. I'm sure they knew I had a valid reason to do my videos in the very beginning, but yet they just wanted to scapegoat my ass and allow me to take the heat for something I had nothing to do with. Meanwhile, everyone in this community knew it. Probably all the employers in California, all the other states, whatever, knew it. And so, but they were willingly allowing me to suffer consequences of their own actions. That's fucked up. It's really fucked up. So I don't. It's hard for me right now. These people know what your ambitions are, right? These perps. So, because I remember saying I wanted to work in the construction industry, because that was something that, when I first got into accounting, that was something that I always wanted to do because I just figured why not? I like the idea of it. But they went to the construction places, and I said, okay, I can work in a CPA office. They went to every CPA. These people just want to mess with you, okay? And then they want to give you a bologna sandwich when you're asking for filet mignon, That's just what they do. And I know that, Stephen's mom had something to do with that, as well as Polly, okay? And I don't want to have anything to do with that, either family, okay? I don't want to do anything with these people or have anything to do with these people at all. I do think it's a good idea. Hang on a second. I think it's a good idea for me to remember people, how I knew them or thought of them in high school. Like, there was a time where I couldn't compartmentalize those. It was just the entire person. And yeah, there's a lot of fake people. They smile on your face, blah, 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 blah. But, it's like, I don't want to, it's unfortunate that this happened. You know what I mean? I would prefer just to think, have a positive thought of these people at that time period. But now it's not the same. You know what I mean? Things have changed. And it kind of says a lot because, that people would wish this on another person, and what kind of friends are these people anyway? I mean, honestly, I never had very many friends in high school. I had more acquaintances, people you say hi to, you might have lunch with them, they'll sign your yearbook, but as far as me, like, really sharing my feelings, it was only a few people that I actually did that with, and unfortunately, these people turn on the dark side too, it's, I guess they just wanted to know whatever became of Maria, because, I've had problems when I was younger. I mean, like, I was not, a very happy person. I was giggly. I made a lot of jokes and stuff like that. But I had problems in school because of what my family would put in motion with their stupid bullshit, I've never realized how competitive and, like, jealous and evil they are. And it's sad too, really. It is sad because, not because I miss them, because I don't, because I know what assholes they are, but it's like, I never realized or thought that I would be almost like, this old and real and having absolutely no connections at all. I mean, this whole thing has wiped out everything in my life. And in some ways, I'm glad, because I don't want to stick around with people who are going to abuse me, okay? Don't get me wrong. But still, it's like, wow, this shit just... It's a beautiful cosmic flush, because I don't want to deal with these people who are going to abuse me, but it also makes me aware of just how important it is for me to be able to take care of myself and have that protection. I have to have protection. I cannot allow myself to ever be subjected to abuse anymore. Okay, I've had enough of it, which makes sense. So, that's another issue, because the thick-headedness of some people, because they are so confident and so sure that, she should be married and she should be doing this. And I don't know if these people, if I had some sort of love choice to make among these people, like there was something going on underground, some decision, although I don't think that Stephen was ever meant to actually come into my life in any way, because I think his mom would have prevented that. But maybe that was what the issue was. Is she going to be with Joel, or is she going to be with Stephen? And all this shit's going on, and I have no fucking knowledge of it. And then, of course, because of all this shit's going on, I'm sitting here being bounced here and there and everywhere based off of my conjugal situation, which really, how the fuck am I supposed to know? And why would somebody want to make decisions without my knowledge? It's so weird to me. Obviously, that's what tells me that this was all some sort of manipulative scheme to gain access illegally to things that they shouldn't have any access to, So it's a lot, I think a lot about this, and I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe. I want to feel good about, approaching an employer. And, I feel as though I have a lot to offer, as to an employer. I just don't want to have to deal with the bullshit. I don't want to deal with another monster ever again. I want these people the fuck out of my life, okay? And anyway, I think I've said enough, and I'm going to wrap this video up. I just had to release that because it's like, you know, it's so stagnating, and so, you know, it's a hindrance. These people have caused me nothing but problems, and I guess you could see that or sense that in my voice and all my like 900 something videos that I've made. That should tell you something. Wrapping up this video. Be back with another one later.